The Incredibles. Super annoying. Dash was bored. It was Saturday afternoon, and he'd run out of things to do. He'd already taken a 20-mile run and swum 50 laps at the town pool. But with Dash's super speed, that killed 5 minutes tops. He was sitting in his messy bedroom on his unmade bed, wondering what to do, when his mother, Helen, walked by. "You know, Dash," she said, "if you need something to do, you could clean up your—" Before Helen had a chance to finish her sentence, Dash raced around the room and cleaned it all up. "I'm still bored," he groaned. "Well, you could read a book," Helen said, moving on. "That's boring," Dash thought. Just then, the phone rang. Violet raced out of her room to get it, and Dash broke into a sly grin. "Target spotted. Now this will be fun," he thought as he slipped across the hall. Dash made sure his sister wasn't looking. Then he hurried into her room and looked for a place to hide. Minutes later, Violet returned and closed the door. She started to cross to her bed. Then she stopped and looked around. Things were not the way she'd left them. The bedspread was upside down, the lampshade was gone, her books had been moved, and her posters were rearranged on her wall. "Mom, Dash messed with my stuff again," Violet hollered. As Helen walked down the hall, a breeze whipped through Violet's room. Helen looked inside. "It looks fine to me, honey," she said. Violet's eyes scanned the room. Everything was back in place. Then Violet looked at the closet door. It was ajar. She walked over and threw it open and pushed aside her clothes. "Dash," Violet cried when she found him. "Get out of here, you little insect!" Dash jumped up wearing some of Violet's clothes. "Look at me. I'm Violet. I'm in love with Tony Ridinger," he teased. Violet grabbed him and dragged him out of her room. "Stay out," she yelled, slamming the door. Dash dropped the clothes in the hall, sped out the front door, and snuck into the backyard. He stood on tiptoe to peer through Violet's window. "Yoo-hoo, Violet," he called with a dainty wave. Violet rushed to the window and yanked down the shade. As she sat on her bed, she felt something under her. "Ah!" she screamed. "Forget to lock something?" Dash said, poking his head out from under the covers. The next thing Violet knew, he was zooming around at such super speed that all Violet saw was a blur, kicking up papers and blowing the posters off her wall. "Dash!" Violet screamed. "Knock it off!" But Dash only stopped when he saw Violet's diary, which had fallen open on the bed. "Ooh," he said, picking it up. "What do we have here? I love Tony. He dost be the cutest. Shall I compare him to a—" That was it. Violet had had enough. "Give that back," she yelled. Dash started to run, but Violet threw a force field in front of the door. Dash ran into it head on and was knocked to the floor. The diary fell out of Dash's hand and Violet snatched it away. But before she knew it, the diary flew away in a sudden whirlwind. "How dost I love thee," Dash read from across the room. Violet turned invisible and lunged for Dash. "You're gonna get it," she cried, and they chased each other around her room in a storm of superpowers. Suddenly, they heard their mom call, "Violet! Dash! Dinner time!" Dash froze. Then in the blink of an eye, he zipped through the bedroom door, down the hall to the kitchen table. "Dash," Helen asked, "did you finish your book?" Then Violet appeared at the table. Her hair was a frazzled mess. "Nah," Dash replied. "I found something a whole lot better to do."